We're back. That's right. Jolly Rancher and all. I said there was going to be a video yesterday, but I didn't have the time, and I'll explain why I didn't have the time. But it does involve a lot of walking, and you can even see by my complexion, I'm a lot more tan, and I am very sore right now. So I can't even remember what I talked about last time, or I was going to talk about last time, but we're just going to go into it anyway. This is the tale of the trail because door knocking is fun and campaigning is fun. A little bit of sarcasm there, but I'll explain what I mean by that. But first, in case you have not heard, City Council member LaKeisha Jackson has been caucused in to replace Jean whatever her name is. And if you don't remember who LaKeisha Jackson is, she represents like Northeast Side and like Lawrence area. Huge racist. Every time that she's talking, all she says is, "How are we going to make sure black people are millionaires?" Go back and watch my videos. Even when she dressed up as a bird last time, that's all she was concerned about. When they were talking about a hotel, the hotel actually in Indianapolis, that's exactly what she said. She wants to make sure these black folks are becoming millionaires off the backs of taxpayers. So I decided to look into her because I do remember that she owns a nonprofit. And I've never really dived into her or any of that. Jokes, jokes. So she is the leader or the president of Pathway Resource Center. Right there, you can see everybody's part of it. I don't know who that guy is though. Never really looked into it. Didn't really care until she became senator. So I decided to look into a little bit, just a little bit, because 990s are annoying and they don't give a whole lot of information, but I want to give you this information and tell me if you think it's a little bit weird. So I'll always have to verify what the address is, make sure that it's LaKeisha Jackson, how long it's been around, whatever, whatever. So first thing I always do is I get the address. And so type it in there. What is it? Right there. I type it in and what is it exactly? That looks like an apartment complex. Am I right? Am I is something I don't get it. So I go, okay, no biggie. It is a little unusual when, their whole nonprofit is about affordable housing and transportation and all these other things. But I'm always a little bit more curious of how much money is going in there. So, first things first, right there, revenue $1.6 million, expenses, net income, net assets $7.2 million. Hmm. Out of an apartment complex? I always thought it was weird. So we're going to view the filing in case none of you have gone through 990s before. Obviously, I don't really know what I'm looking at. I just try and find the high notes off it. Address, person, so on and so forth. What is it here? To foster affordable housing, transportation, provide training and resources to create opportunities that promote resident self sufficiency while bridging the digital divide and reducing welfare dependency and crime. Remember, this is also the same woman, probably like 2 years ago now. She was a very big proponent of the clean needle program, where you had these heroin addicts, these crackheads, and they were getting free needles from the government. And I kept saying, is like, this is called enabling. And she even brought it up. It's like, some people say this is an enabling, but it's not. This is what we need to do. Listen, I'm a trained psychologist, but she didn't say where. From where? I don't get it. What did you? Was it like an online thing? What is going on here? Like, I'm pretty sure you can't prescribe drugs. Maybe a psychiatrist, psychologist. It doesn't matter. But you can see all the stuff that's going around here. Um, Going a little bit further, how much is she getting paid too? Where is it? Right there. 49,000. Not a big deal. Very humble. All right. What's her statement of revenue? This is what pisses me off about 990s and nonprofits. Right here, related organizations, 108,000. All other contributions, gift, grants, and other similar amounts not included above, 1.19 million. Total 1.3. But it's all grayed out. That's what I can't stand. It is the absolute worst. And I know why they do it, because nonprofits and charities are usually a giant scam just so it can become tax exempt. You don't have to pay taxes. Listen, I get the whole scheme, but when you have a now senator in office and she runs a nonprofit, I think we need to open the books and find out where the money's coming from. I'm just saying. You are an elected official. You aren't like some kind of high paid athlete. You are chosen by the caucus, not by the people, by the way, to represent your district for senator. Senator's a very big deal. It's not House of Representatives. It's not what I'm running for. You know, it's a 4-year gig, and you know kind of make a lot of money. Definitely a lot more money than city councilor. Not starting pay, but overall pay. You know, we should actually just look her up. Hey, look at that. All right, 2023 senator. Did she get paid? 80,000. Not bad. Hey, not bad. You know, there are some people who've made more than that though. So if you ever want to see how much your elected officials are getting paid, actually, let's see. I spelled her name wrong. Oh, there we go. Let's go. Seeing as how LaKeisha got paid 15,000 last year, pretty big bump up. But remember, city councilors are getting paid a lot more this year, depending on how many committees that you're in. It could be probably $50,000. I think. I think starting pay got jumped up to 32 grand, and I think starting senator pay is less than that. I think it's like 28. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, that's where that is. Well, we're going to talk about the tales from the trail. I have been getting a lot of questions on what my district is and how big is it. Spoiler alert, it's ginormous. It's very big, all right? And sometimes when I think about it, it's it's a little overwhelming. So you can see that it's in downtown, Monument Circle, the State House is in it, Garfield Park, obviously my end. Um, it goes all the way to High School Road, and that's this huge chunk is what I represent. I don't even know how many people in there. It's got to be like 50,000 maybe. Actually might be more than that because it covers half of Wayne Township, maybe a third of Wayne Township. I'm not sure, but it's a lot of people. 50,000 people don't vote, obviously. I think there are only like 15,000 that voted in the 2020 election. I know I'm rambling, but I wanted to make a point about this is that I have to cover all of this when it comes to door knocking. And door knocking takes forever. To the point where I'm doing a little bit of door knocking and door hanging. I do have a sort of walk list, but I'm not following it right now because it's not the primary. It's pre-primary right now, and I'm not too concerned. My whole concern is just making sure people in different areas know who I am and really just about getting the message out. I have a while to go, all right? It's not even May yet, and the election's in November. I have some time. And I tell you what, we got some things cooking up that if you're involved with the campaign, you're going to find out. If you're just out there listening in YouTube land, you're not going to find out until the very end. But if you want to get involved after the primary, give me a ring. we would love to have you. You don't even really have to do door knocking. It's you could do door hanging, you could do phone calls, that kind of stuff. You can drive around. You could record me because we're gonna do some videos pretty soon in different areas of District 97. But the reason why I didn't have a video yesterday is because I was out for about 7 hours door knocking, and that stuff really takes a brutal. It's a brutal beating. And I want to talk more, but I can't because I was sworn to secrecy. But it's a lot of walking. My feet were hurting. I was very sore because I had this pack full of door hangers. I think I had like 300 door hangers on me, and I used more than that. I think it was like 500 doors I got yesterday over a 7 hour period. Had some really good conversations though on people. I didn't even. I had a lot of good conversations on people that didn't even know a Republican was running, and it's kind of annoying because I go door knocking and I know that person is a Republican, and you can usually tell when there's an American flag outside of their house or when it says Trump on it. And this is what I can't stand. And I understand why, but I don't like it, is when you know that person's probably a Republican. You're like 99% sure. But what does it say? No soliciting, or no trespassing, or beware of dog. Those are when it says beware of dog, that is a very passive aggressive way of saying stay off my lawn. I don't want to talk to you. Now, technically, as a door knocker, no soliciting doesn't count because soliciting is selling you something. If I'm selling you vacuum cleaners or some Gordon Ramsay knives, that would be that. No trespassing, obviously, no bueno. Can't do it. Not a big deal though. Even though I would just love, can I just hang my door hanger? I don't do that now. When I would have no soliciting, I would just put the door hanger on there, and I don't do that anymore because I think that's what lost my primary last year. Is like, look at that. Don't you know what that means? That's it. I'm voting for the other person. That's a running theory, of course. Well, I'm talking to people about the property taxes because that is my number one concern. Uh, people it's interesting talking to Democrats because when you bring it up, they're more concerned about smoking weed than they are about property taxes, which is absolutely mind-blowing. So wait, let me get this straight. You care more about legalizing weed than actually owning your home outright. Like the government, you don't have to pay any more taxes to the government anymore. Like you own the land, you own the house, and you don't. The government doesn't. And it's like, I really want that weed thing though. And I didn't want to be a dick because I have basically like I'm running to represent you, but I just like I'm not saying that it's dumb. It's just I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me when you could have this. I mean, I pay like $1,300 a year in property taxes. Yeah, I know it's small. Sucks for you guys. I also have a very small house. And you could use that money to go buy more weed. Are you kidding me? Like I saw people on their front step just having a joint. I was talking to some lady and she's just rolling a blunt right there. She's like, "We gotta take care of this weed thing." It was very funny. It's amusing. I'm never gonna give anybody crap about smoking weed in their own home. I prefer them doing it that way. When it's not like when you go to Monument Circle and you smell piss, weed, and Chick-fil-A. Just go do it at your home. What is the freaking deal? Do you need to do it here? Are you that addictive to smoking weed that you're just like, nope, I'm just gonna light up right here, right in front of Five Guys. Who gives a damn? I'm like, what are we even doing? Um, so speaking of that though, totally vindicated on something. Totally vindicated. So last month, Spark is getting reignited. Spark on the Circle is returning to downtown Indianapolis in June. That's interesting because there are a lot of sexual predators in Indianapolis. Didn't know that? Well, now you do. Yeah, it's true. So, we're gonna type in the address: 100 Monument Circle. Da 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 da. Search. And what do you got? So we got two of them. And I know your thing's like two sexual offenders. What's the big deal, Whitty? I mean, people on the city council like Jesse Brown probably don't give a shit about that. But this was the interesting part. Alleyway on the west side, and the other one is 55 Monument Circle. I am. So this is at a quarter mile. Now I want to boost this up to a half a mile. 90. 90 sexual offenders within a half a mile. Hey, now guess what's in a mile? Pause this video if you want to, but in 1 mile, guess how many it is? And I bet you're going to be wrong. Ready? Are you ready? 1 mile. 315. That's right. Within a 1 mile radius of Monument Circle. Now you're telling me you're going to be bringing kids to Monument Circle so they can play, and you're going to have all these sexual offenders, 315 of them. And here's the crazy part: when you start going through the address, like alleyway on West Side, sleeping under bridge, on East Market Street, side of the building, Senator Avenue by Canal, and southeast corner near Bricks, all these other ones, all of them, IDOC, 433 East Washington, blah blah blah. But you're basically sending off the horn, sounding off the horn of, hey, guess what, sexual offenders, you want to go look at some children, because that's what you're doing. And if you remember, back in that forum, I brought that up when Spark was happening, when I talked about the homeless dude jerking off on the steps of the church. And then when I was at Spark, I saw all these homeless guys, and they were just looking at those children like they were a fresh piece of meat, fresh piece of meat. They're just licking their chops, and they're just like, boy. All those pedophiles. I don't want anybody clipping any of this stuff, so I gotta be careful what I say. Very interesting. Totally vindicated. I'm right again. Who would have guessed? And I will. Anybody who has the Spark thing going on, that wants to talk about it, clip that section and bring it up. Like, why are we doing this? And I've been there. There's like no cops there. The only time that I saw cops during at Spark was during the pro Hamas rally that Jesse Brown was at. In fact, Ethan Evans was there too. But anyway, back to the campaign. So when I'm talking to people about the property taxes, I kind of have to, like, Democrats are wanting to raise your property taxes, and they're like, wait, what are you talking about? They do. Well, first off, they never have any bills on it, and number two, the mayor of Hammond, he wants to raise the property taxes so much that he even talked about it, right here, just the other day. Atomic jerk, because there's schools in Hammond that are having to close down, and he, of course, can't take any accountability for his actions. Shocker, is blaming the state. Why? Because establishing a property tax cap and having the school rely on referendums. And they're pissed off about it because last November they were talking about doing another referendum where it was on the ballot, and 70% of voters opposed it. And this was my point. This was my point. Democrats love taxes, man. And you can see it in every state. California, Illinois, Michigan. California's in a budget deficit. Same thing with Illinois. Let's keep spending more money but not getting anything done. We know a lot of these things are traps. We know a lot of these things are scams, whether it's homeless, whether it's drugs, whether it's the housing, transportation. And there's just no accountability when there's Democrats in control. Sometimes you can say the same thing about Republicans, but you could do a little bit more research on that if you want to. I would rather trust a Republican than a Democrat when it comes to running a city. Truth be told, I would make a great mayor, to be honest with you, because I'd cut half of the government in half. Half the government is out. I'm talking about the MXB. I'm talking about Office of Sustainability. I'm talking about Indigo needs to be more accountable, and there needs to be management that's fired from there. When you have the CEO who is making over $400,000 a year, Indianapolis Airport Authority. We talked about this Mario Rodriguez. He makes over $400,000 a year. You got to be crazy. Maybe some of that is from the profits of the airport, but that's a subsidized thing too. The only people that are making money off of that are airlines. But don't forget, McDermott was also the guy that wanted to fight Todd Young last time in 2022. He wanted to have a celebrity boxing match, and we would donate the proceeds. And they're like, I think McDermott's 52, and Todd Young at that time was 48. Hey, guess what, McDermott? You want to raise people's taxes? I'll fight you. You got my number for real. I'll fight you. You shouldn't be raising anybody's taxes at all. That's a challenge too. Not boxing though, definitely MMA. I will choke him out. So what happened today was mighty fun. This is where the fun part starts. Because this makes people not want to door knock. But I'm still going to do it because I'm dedicated to this. I want to win. I want to make sure all of you guys go out there and understand. All of you out there, I want to win. I'm putting myself out there. I'm taking the arrows. I'm doing it what needs to be done. I'm getting the information. I'm spending the time. I'm getting chased by dogs. I almost got in the middle of a family fight. Got caught up in it. That was today, and I got almost chased by a dog today. I sort of got chased, but I was over in Hawthorne, and if you saw that picture of that car that's like straight up down, that was pretty cool. I saw KIB. There's a sign on that, so I'm not sure if it was one of the original KIB parks. But I was walking, and I saw this black lab like running up to me, and I'm looking at it, and like I don't see a chain. I see a collar, but I don't see the dog attached to anything. And I'm like, uh-oh, and this dog's coming straight up for me. I wonder if there's an invisible fence. Probably looking at this neighborhood. Probably not. So the dog just runs up to me, starts barking. So I turn around and I go, knock it off. That's enough. And it just like kind of like freaked out for a second. True story. True story. And then like I got past the house and it just stopped. And I was like, all right, that's enough. I didn't touch it, didn't bop it on the nose or anything. You can't let dogs know that you have any fear. All right. That's really the sign of life, that's everybody should know that. You show anybody fear and they're just gonna walk all over you. This stuff, this is the kind of stuff that of course you're watching right now is like this is why I don't like doing door knocking. You know. But it's part of the gig. You don't really have a choice in it when you're running for office. Mark Renselberg, the libertarian who's on the ticket too, he said he's not doing any door knocking. And I asked him about mailers, and he said I'm probably going to do mailers. Well, mailers aren't cheap either. Door hangers are super cheap, all things considered. And I even talked to somebody who said it's like never had anybody talk to me besides Justin Moed. I go, well, I'm here. You know, I'm involved. I want to know what you guys need. And as a voter, does not give you like a little bit more impression on somebody when you're talking to them face to face, or not even just that, but getting a door hanger from somebody. Like I've gotten plenty of door hangers just living here, and just knowing like it was either that person or or it was that candidate or it was somebody on their team. Just knowing that somebody's spending their time handing you some marketing, some literature about their policy, about their platform, that is just goes above everything else. A mailer anybody can do, but doing boots on the ground, that is just an extra level that people are looking for. So one of the things that I noticed is some Justin Moed signs. I saw one in, what was it, Shelton Heights, I think. I saw some in Hawthorne. Did I see Fairbanks? What's that? What's the other one? Fairfax. Saw one in Fairfax, and I think it's because he has a primary. Folks, I think he's scared because there's a trans on the ticket on the primary. And if anybody who knows about downtown area and like IUPUI and all of that, I don't think people know that Sarah is a trans too. I think they're just seeing a female on the ticket and they will automatically vote for him. Now there's some people like in people like IUPUI and some people in downtown and more of the radical left that will vote for Sarah even if they know that they're a trans person. But I think but Sarah's not even doing anything. Just had surgery, has no money for door hangers, has no money for mailers, and just going off the voice on Reddit. But you never know. This is good data gathering too. Who could say? All I know is what I keep hearing from is that Moet isn't doing anything different. He has a crappy message. They haven't seen him at all. I'm going to all these things. I've actually been going to these things for the past 2 years. Not even because I was running for a candidate, but just because I want to know what's going on in the neighborhood. And I have, going to these things is super important. And maybe I'm a little rambling now, but I want to like really stress the importance if any of you ever decide to run for office. Like these are the necessary things that you have to be doing, to really get your name out there. If you're gonna run for office, um, run for school. If you have children, run for school board. If you're gonna run for state office after this one, you have 2 years, so more like a year. So if I were you, I would start getting involved now. If you're gonna run for city council, well, you got some time. You got 4 years because that race just happened. You're gonna run for governor. You got 4 years too. Good luck out there for sure. It is a bloodbath, and this is where I will leave this video. Is on the governor's race. I'm still on my list of people of where they rank for governors. Rittenhour is getting a lot of steam behind her right now. Personally, I don't trust her because she doesn't understand. She has an idea of how bad things are in a political office, but I don't think she understands how bad it can be, especially if you're governor, man. And I don't think she's willing to take the arrows. I can read people pretty well, and I just don't trust. By the way, this accounts for anybody. I don't really trust a whole lot of people when it comes to taking the arrows. That list is still strong when it comes to people taking arrows. Honestly, I would say Curtis Hill would take more arrows than Jamie, only because he's been in office before. Chambers would be the least, obviously. And by the way, good timing on that article of when we found out that he owes Indianapolis like $9 million, $8 million, whatever. I might be less than that, but it's like at least a couple $1 million that he was supposed to figure out back in 2021. Yeah, he had 10 years to find someone to take over the debt that he had for some development things. Like, dude, you had 10 years to figure this out and you couldn't get it figured out. That just shows that Chambers is a dope and he should not be in office. He's just another scam artist developer. So yeah, just let you know, there's no city council meetings until the 13th because the primary is next Tuesday, and then the following Tuesday, and then it'll be like what 2 or 3 weeks of straight committee meetings. So I will have another uh Woody review video this week, end of the week. I have some meetings to go to, but that's enough of me. Until next time.